Happy Monday, everybody. Episode 88 on the way. Let's do it. One, two. Blah. Oh boy. Happy Monday. Cheers. Okay. Let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Howdy. Monday. Folks, my name is Cardone. You're watching Evening Hour Live, episode 88. Here we go. We got a great group in here already. Let's go. Mama just joined. What up, Mama? We got William, Joel, Dan. Who else is in here? Ruth, Joel, Dan P. I think John's in here. Who else? Ruby. What up, everybody? Let's have some fun. It's Monday, and as you know, it's my favorite day of the week. I started getting ready for my Mondays now, Sunday. That's how cool Monday is. Seriously, when Monday shows up, or Sunday shows up, I'm having fun, but I'm getting my Monday ready. What I got to do for work purposes, TCB purposes, taking care of my personal businesses, and my projects. So Sunday I started getting ready for the jam, and here we are. All the usual degenerates. Yes, Ruth. Yes. I love this group. So I have a lot to talk about tonight. I have a few subjects I'm going to throw out there, and we're going to chew on them. We're going to lean on the philosophy tonight, which is my favorite subject to chat about. And I wanted, this week, well, first of all, we had a major storm headed towards us. And it was definitely Lilith Malone in the house. What's up? Cheers to you and your significant other. We had a storm. I mean, the radar looked crazy. It was like my house, and the direct hit was like right beside it. Well, fortunately, it moved down the beach a bit, and it went up and around. But I know upstate, some of y'all are getting hit with the residuals of the hurricane. Or should I say tropical storm. I live in a beach community. I'm 4 houses from the ocean. So, yeah, it's scary when the wave, when it's a full moon and the tide's high. Yeah, it's definitely kind of scary. So we dodged a bullet. We did get good surfing waves because of it. And I think we're going to have waves all week now. Yeah. So that was this weekend. I did a Slipper Room show, which is my nightclub. What else did I do this weekend? So this weekend, I actually did a lot of bass playing. I've been really getting my bass playing back up to par. There's a few shows coming up I need to be ready for. My fingers, they're broken in. They're ready. Yes, they do close beaches, but that does not stop the surfers. I've never seen a beach closure stop surfing. Not once. And the species of shark, well, I'll tell you. I know, I'm out there. I see them. I saw last week what I think was about a 6-foot sand shark. 5 foot, 6 foot. I also know for a fact there are great whites. We have what is known as the only known great white breeding ground right here off the coast of Long Island. So yeah, we have a lot of sharks. I think the shark craze is, yeah, it's good news. They don't bite anybody. I'm not afraid of them at all. As a matter of fact, if I got eaten by a shark, I would be okay with that. So, on that note, cheers. Yeah, they're under us all the time. We don't see them all the time, but they're there. We have a lot of times where, so right here where we surf, and when I point this way, I literally mean it's like right there. There's the beach, and then there's the rocks that stick out into the ocean. It's a jetty to help keep the sand in. And there's dudes that fish up there. So while we're in the water, there's guys up there fishing off the jetty. And they'll say, I've been out there where they'll be like, I see big fish. So if I see a shark in the water, I'll tell everybody because it makes all the new people leave, which is totally fine. More room. I've also been reading like a freak. I've been reading more now than I can. So, yes, William, the We Are Satanist book, pick it up. It is good. I'm about a quarter of the way through. Ruth, it's a thick book. The other books I've been reading, and I'll show you. Well, we're going to talk about Seneca in a second. This guy here, this is my next deep dig. Xenophon. This guy is a military strategist. He was in the he was the general of the 10,000 army of mercenaries in ancient Greece that's famous. He's also a philosopher and a student of Socrates. I called him Socrates. You guys watched, what's the, Bill and Ted. Yeah, he was one of the Socrates guys, and I really like him. So I've been reading him. This is a cool book. Atheism and Pagan Antiquity. I read a chapter a day in this one and chew on it. And this, Epictetus, another one of the philosophers. There's not a lot that we have of his writings, as you can tell by the thickness of the book. And Crates in Hipparchia. I've been really liking this. These were a couple. Crates and Hipparchia were a cynic philosopher couple. And they lived like homeless people in ancient Greece at the time of Diogenes. So very cool. Nope, wrong one. So, anywho, and the other book that I just got, and I'm going to show you now, is this. Salvation Canyon by Ed Rosenthal. And it's crazy because this gentleman who wrote this book is staying in my Airbnb right now. He's right over there. I just met him. Didn't know anything about the guy. And when I have Airbnb guests, I get to meet them. And sometimes we get to hang out, make friends. And this guy, I believe he's about 74-year-old gentleman. He's a real estate guy from LA. And he got lost in the desert and he wrote a book about it. And he survived by himself 6 days alone in the desert in 112-degree weather. And he gave me this book to read. So I'm like, wow, I love that my guest is here and I get to meet him and then I get to read his book. Can't wait. Crates was a nickname for Socrates. I love it. Yo, Crates, what's up? Socrates. So I've been reading a lot. I read bang, 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 bang. I love it. It's when I read the philosophy, even though they're separate, it's all one big picture for me. They're all quoting each other, and it made me want to go. Ed Rosenthal, the Marijuana Growers Handbook. Yes, that's a different Ed Rosenthal, I believe. But yeah, I've heard of him. He's a weed advocate. But yeah, I enjoy reading. I haven't read fiction in a while. I'm going to be honest. I haven't touched a fiction book in at least 6 months. Now, I do read fiction in the sense that I dungeon master, and I'm reading. I don't know if you can see this. I've been rearranging my furniture here. From here to here, that's my dungeon master shelf. That's what I use to run my games that we run here on Tuesdays. And I love reading, usually history and biographies. What's the must book read on philosophy? Oh my God, Dan P., my friend. Well, to start off easy, read Marcus Aurelius' Meditations. If you want Stoic philosophy, yeah, read that. It's easy to read. You'll bust through it really quick. You'll get a grasp on what his version of Stoicism was. And then, dude, this is an $8 book. It'll blow your mind. This is what we're going to be talking about tonight. Seneca's letters. Yeah, and then get ready, because if you like it, you're going to be in a deep hole. And I started with the ancients, but yeah, dude, they're all good. If you get into the ancient stuff, you're going to want to start looking at the modern stuff too, because it all correlates. Sister Sulia. I don't know that. Yeah, I mean, I just really, reading has become it has a new meaning for me. It's more than a pastime. It's literally a treasure hunt at this point. And I can't read unless I have a pencil in my hand and a notebook to start writing notes in. It just doesn't work. Everywhere I go, I've got, these chicken scratch notes. It's how it's retaining. It really works. It's funny. I think I did a show on this, but I did definitely talk about this. But I looked up one day the best way to read for retention, and I was doing exactly what it said. Circling words, bracketing things in the book, writing notes on the side of the gist of what it is, so that when you go back to read it again, you can go, oh, I remember this paragraph. It's about this. When you do that, it starts to line up here. It's not a passive read. It's an active read. Very different. Yeah, I know I'll be back to fiction, Ruth. I'll get back into it. I don't hate fiction. It's just, I don't know what it is. I don't have a want for it right now. Yeah. I don't know. I like Dungeons and Dragons-y type fiction stuff because I get to apply it the next day. So like tomorrow I'm running a game and I'll read on an adventure and then I gotta like apply what it is. I get to communicate it of sorts. So anywho, that's what I've been up to. What else? Oh! So in this whole us getting ready for the storm, the summer is not over. We still have a good 2 solid weeks here of summer, but I don't count summer over until the end of September. So what we did, my house, me and a few of my friends own this house. It's a massive ordeal. This house is, I don't know how many bedrooms. 12 bedrooms, 4 kitchens, 5 bathrooms. It's massive. There's a lot of people that live here too. So we're always fixing things and doing things. And right before the COVID hit the fan, I had money saved to get ready to put a down payment of sorts on a really nice hot tub. And then the COVID's hit the fan, and I said, you know what? I think I should save the money, which I'm glad I did. And so, yeah, we didn't do the hot tub. I wish we did, because we would have had a cool setup for the winter, but we didn't. So fast forward through this debacle of sorts, I, made some smart decisions, and here we are. We're going to get the hot tub. And last week, we put the down payment on, and it's showing up either this week or next week. It is literally my childhood fantasy to own a hot tub. I have back pain, neck pain. I like hot tubs. I like hanging out in them. I'm going to miss smoking cigars in them. I don't smoke cigars anymore. But I'm going to definitely enjoy this. So when we got the hot tub idea, we were going to get the fancy Costco one, the most expensive one you could get from like Costco. Then I did the research, found out, not so good. So then we looked at the middle price models. Again, they're just not as reliable. The parts aren't good. There's a lot of false advertising. They'll say, there's 3 motors. Well, it's actually 1 motor. There are 20 different jets. No, there's one kind, and they're all the little ones with big housings, so they look like big jets. It's a lot of that, right? So then we looked up the expensive ones, and the thing about the really fancy ones is that you're not just getting a nice product that it's going to last. It's also easy to fix if it breaks. It also gets serviced by the company. You're paying for that. And to me, without that, we might as well not even get one. That's kind of where we went with it. So guess what? We're getting that one. We're getting the nice one. We're getting the nicest one you can get for the size. Like, that's it. We're getting a 7-person hot tub. The brand is called, I can't remember the brand. It's got a funny name. Anywho, I'll remember it when we get it. It has therapeutic jets. Like, each chair has a different configuration. So this winter's going to be a little better. And yeah, so that's what we've been doing. All right, let's do this, man. I want to talk about a few things here. I titled tonight's show, if you're new to this channel, hit that silly subscribe button. I'm trying to get to 1,000. It's hard to do. Really. They really hit a button and shadow ban you. Really. Like, my show does not spread. They won't let it spread. They don't want it to spread. They're very vocal about that. So once you hit 1,000, they open it up. They open the gate up a bit. I'm getting close. So I never met a hot tub. I know which one. The ones that don't work. Those are the ones you wouldn't love. A broken one. So, what the hell is that? Oh yeah. So subscribe. That's what I was getting at. And if you want to donate, awesome. This channel does cost money, and I do this for a living. So, if you donate, great. It goes in the show. It goes to paying for my gear, paying for the services that I'm running to pull this show off. And since I started this, I have raised some awesome dough for this show. So thank you, everybody who donates. I appreciate it. If you can't donate, I don't care. Have fun. I'm here to have fun, primarily. And I'm here to hang out with some awesome people, throw some ideas out so that we can chew on them together. That's all. That's what I'm here to do. So what do you do for that? You subscribe, hit the notify bell, tell your pals, which most of you do anyways. Yeah, so let's talk about this. So today's episode is called Seneca Hates and Atheist Oz. And I really wanted to talk about Oz, the Wizard of Oz. And the reason is in the last 2 weeks, it's popped up a lot. People mentioning it. I go to the surf club and they're showing it on the screen. One of my burlesque dancer pals, who I'm really good friends with, she shows up at my house the other day with these. Thank you, Lillian. We got the lion and Toto in Pez form. I mean, all these like weird references to Wizard of Oz keep popping up. And anybody that mentions the Wizard of Oz to me, I always point out that it really is a movie that speaks so loud to me. It is an atheist's dream, this movie. It is a Satanist's dream. It is an atheist dream. It is, most people, when you say, what's the movie about? They'll say there's no place like home. Me, since I was a child, I saw right away what was going on, and it blew my mind. And I didn't know how to vocalize it. I didn't understand exactly the nuance of it. And then I understood it, which we'll talk about. And then when they made the prequel with James Franco, Oz the Great and Powerful, it's really in there. That movie hit me so hard that I wept many times in the movie theater. I identified with so many moments, and watching this character learn some bad habits and fix them, and the character learn why he is the great Oz, the Great and Powerful. So basically, think about it. It's about a carny that has no magic powers, gets taken, Dan, I'll talk about that, gets taken to a world of real magic, and the carny, the Wizard of Oz carny, the sideshow carny, the drifter, the shaman, is able to use his carny powers to become the boss of the real magic world. Whoa! To me, that is just like, just talking about that plot line is like, blows my mind. Yeah, Joel. Dude, watching The Wizard of Oz really was a ritual. My mom is in here right now. She'll tell you. When I was a little kid, she would make a bowl of popcorn, and we would sit and watch The Wizard of Oz. Every year. It was a big deal. And I had an Oz moment last week. No. Oh, there you go, Ruth. Aw. See? Dude, I'm telling you, that movie's a very important piece of cinema. It speaks very loud to me. I remember as a little kid going, wow, they realize that there's no wizard. They open the curtain, but then they get all of their gifts still because he really is a good wizard. You know, he is the archetype. He's one of the greatest. He is, out of my wizard archetypes, I've got Dr. Phibes here, and I have the Wizard of Oz here. And one's positive, one's negative. They're both important. I see the value in both of them for different reasons in different times and for different functions. So, I mean, when I was little and I think about what I liked in the Wizard, I liked the color of the witch's skin. I liked the flying monkeys. I loved the witch's guards. I loved the lion. I liked the humor that the lion had in him. I liked the Tin Man's makeup, but I didn't like the Tin Man so much. What else? I loved when she visits Professor Marvel. That scene. I remember as a little kid, I noticed something. I don't know if you've ever noticed this. When she meets Professor Marvel, he has a way of speaking. But as soon as the storm hits and she runs away, he goes into a southern accent, implying that his real accent is that, and he has a put-on accent for when she shows up. It's a really subtle little character choice I always liked. The giant hourglass, I liked that when I was a little kid. I'm trying to remember, like, when I was really little, like, the imagery that stuck with me. I noticed as a little kid a mistake in the movie. The castle. Beautiful. When the witch, right before the flying monkeys show up, she says that she sent a little insect out to get them. Insect? That's weird. Well, there was a scene cut. The jitterbug. Yes! My mama pointed out. Yeah, they do have the red shoes at the Smithsonian. I really... so the guy that got sick, he had to leave the role. They had to get a new Tin Man because of the makeup. I forget the original guy. Jack Haley? No, I get them mixed up. Whoever the original Tin Man was recorded the song and had to leave. So, Dan, I have seen that movie with the soundtrack, Dark Side of the Moon. And it does lock in a few times to the point of like, wow. But then it also doesn't. So... I'll probably never do that again, but I did have fun. Yes, the trees. Buddy Ebsen. There you go. That's who it was. I really like that movie, and it really is. There's some scenes. There's a scene in the Oz Great and Powerful with James Franco, where at the end of the movie, he has his Oz projectogram going, and the witch throws a fireball and he powers it off, and the other people that are with him waiting for him to turn on the giant wizard thing again, they're like, turn it on, and he's like, no, just wait. And I got goosebumps in the theater because I got what he's doing. He really is a wizard, and he's a master of timing. And you get to watch him juice it and then do it. I mean, really, Yeah, I get goosebumps talking about that movie. So I really wanted to mention it. It's been coming up a lot recently. Maybe I'll watch it soon in its entirety. I saw some of it the other day at the surf club, and we were watching it without the sound on. And I was with some people, and I pointed out something small. I said, "Yo, watch this. You don't need to know what they're. We don't need subtitles to know what's going on. Watch. You're watching real actors. You're not watching models who are actors or trying to act. You're not watching reality stars act. You're not watching sports stars act, and you're not watching normal people get directed and act. You're watching actors, people who can sing, dance, tap, tell a joke without any rehearsal and make it work because they've done it 1,000 times. You're watching those dudes on the screen. So you don't need dialogue. You can see in their eyes what's going on. Try it. Put it on and watch it. You'll clearly see the emotional context of each action each actor is trying to affect the other person with. It's like watching ping pong. I can't say that about a Tarantino movie. You turn the sound off and you're not going to know what's going on because they're not trying to affect each other. They're just saying their lines so they sound good, and then it gets edited. If you ever want to hear me do a rant on why I don't like Tarantino movies, I did an episode on that. All right, let's get into some deep philosophy here. Let's talk about Seneca. So when I first started getting into this philosophy stuff, I really wanted to start with the ancients. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to start with the Greeks, you know, the real classic guys, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, those dudes, Diogenes, you know, the Greek dudes, the guys hanging out in Athens. Or I wanted to go to the Romans. For some reason, I went with the Romans first because, again, I just looking around, I realized that Marcus Aurelius, his writings were pretty straight up. Simple and easy to understand, and a good intro to Stoicism. I'm not sure what a philosophy professor would say, but that's what I did. And I'm glad I did. And then it led me to this gentleman here, Seneca. And Seneca was a playwright, and he was a philosopher, and he was... the reason why I find him interesting, it would be like, imagine someone hired to help Hitler be a better person and what they would have to do and deal with to keep him calm. That's what Seneca was. He worked for Nero and Caligula, two of the most infamous Caesars of all time. This guy was their counsel, and he had a terrible demise because of it. So reading his works, you have to understand he was under a lot of pressure, and he had to find some sort of peace. And so the letters that I'm reading, this Seneca's letters, this was never meant to be published. He's writing letters to his friend. Same with Marcus Aurelius. You're reading his little notes he scribbled to himself at night. That's like really getting an inside scoop. You know, your ego's not the same when you're just writing to your buddy or you're writing to yourself. So this was like kind of early in my reading. I started this, and I really like it. I like his conversational tone. I like the way he dances around a subject. He'll like propose an idea, and then he dances around it, and then he gives it a summary at the end. And there's I don't know how many letters are in here. There are, I don't know, there's like 100 some letters in here. It's a lot. 125, something like that. And I've read the whole book. I have 2 letters left. I have like 8 pages to go. And you know when you get to the end of the book, you're kind of like, wow, I'm a little depressed. Well, I don't feel that way with this because as soon as I'm done, I'm basically going to go back and reread it from the beginning. It's got a lot of notes written in the margins. I mean, it's a lot. And I can't wait to go back and chew on it again. And I'm going to do the same thing I'm doing now. I read 1 essay a day. So as I'm getting to the end of the book, Yeah. He never thought this was going to be public. No way. The last essay that I read that made me want to do this episode is called On Darkness as a Veil for Wickedness. I'm going to read a little bit about what it says, and then we're going to chew on it, because I disagreed with him on some of the stuff in here. I've noticed a few little things in here that I was like, aha, I don't agree. Well, it's not that I don't agree. I think I would have loved to met him and talked about this essay, because I think he would have gotten my point. So, wow, listen to this. John wrote, Navy Vice Admiral James Stockdale survived 7 years in a Hanoi Hilton because he practiced Stoicism. Well, that's the deal with Stoicism, is it was kind of formulated with the purpose of it being very practical for dealing with horrible situations, which everybody's basically going to have coming to them, is the notion. It's like, it's Murphy's Law, not the band, the notion. I do like the band. But yeah, it's, the shit hits the fan. It's either going to be on you, your loved one, or all of the above, and then some. So how are you going to deal with it, right? So that's Stoicism shows up and goes, hey, I have some ideas here. So check this out. On Darkness as a Veil for Wickedness. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but I'm going to give you some seeds of it. The day has already begun to lessen. It has shrunk considerably, but yet will still allow a goodly space of time if one rises, so to speak, with the day itself. We are more industrious and we are better men if we anticipate the day and welcome the dawn. But we are base churls if we lie dozing when the sun is high in the heavens, or if we wake up only when noon arrives, and even then, to many, it seems not yet dawn. Some have reversed the functions of light and darkness. They open their eyes sodden with yesterday's debauch, only at the approach of night. It is just like the conditioning of those peoples whom, according to Virgil, nature has hidden away and placed in an abode directly opposite to our own. There's a poem in here he quotes. Never have seen this. Okay. Do you think that these men know how to live if they do not know when to live? Do these men fear death if they have buried themselves alive? Are they as weird as the birds of the night? Bats. He's talking about bats. Although they pass their hours of darkness amid wine and perfumes, although they spend the whole extent of their unnatural waking hours in eating dinners, and those two cooked separately to make up many courses, fancy food, they are not really banqueting, they are conducting their own funeral services. And the dead, at least, have their own banquets by daylight. So, let's talk. Yeah, okay. So, he's talking about, okay, now, here's where it gets crazy. So, as the essay goes on, he starts really railing on the people that live the nightlife, the party life, the club kid life, the people that go to banquets. And eventually, he says some things that really made me stop and rethink my own stuff. Because he says, okay, so first he says, anticipating the day is good in the morning. I do that. I naturally been doing that. Like really, yeah, he's a little uptight here, but it sounds like he's having an old man rant. That's what it sounds like. And there's a hair, and I'm going to get to it, of a form of homophobia, which is funny because at the time, it was kind of okay. But we're going to talk about it. I found it very fascinating, and I did a little research on why it was he might have thought these things. What's Dan say? Jack the Ripper. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's interesting. So he's saying anticipate the day is good. Sleeping in, not good. They are as weird as the birds of the night. So he thought bats were weird, which I can imagine in early times. Yeah, people were kind of like, whoa, there's a bird that has hair and not feathers. It's like a little mouse, right? Yeah, he sounds grumpy here, right? I like that banqueting is a word. Banqueting. I love it. They are not banqueting. They are conducting their own funeral. Well, yeah, you could say people that are the addict types. It's a slow version of suicide, yeah. Yes, he says birds that are... Oh, then he makes this thing. He's like, look, so the banquet that they're going to go eat at, right, at night, where there's going to be wine and lots of food, and you're going to eat way more than you need to, which is not very stoic to do, or cynical, or, the cynics didn't like that, or Epicurus did not like overeating over anything. It was like simple. If you keep it simple, you can enjoy it longer. Don't overdo it. Now, I have thoughts about that. If you overdo it or you like things that are elaborate, the problem is if you expect them all the time. This is where I differ than some of these guys. This is where prudence comes in. Really, you have to be able to maintain and monitor how far it goes, right? Well, yeah, well, he might have. I mean, nothing good happens. Yeah, not true. Well, I agree. Yeah, it's funny because I don't think he understood certain versions of nightlife. I think he had the night owl he's talking about here sounds like a club kid. That's what it sounds like. Oh, he said, so the banquet, you're going to eat birds at the banquet, that to get them to the condition that you're going to eat them in, they also were kept in the dark. They were kept locked in a cage and stuffed full of food, and then they croak, and then we eat them. So it's a really funny analogy he made that I thought was kind of neat. He's like, look, you're going to be all cooped up all night, partying, and then, yeah. He mentions they have bad complexions. And then he says, how much more darkness there is even in their souls, right? He's talking about lifestyle more than anything, which I agree with. Yeah, there's a bad lifestyle that goes along with, quote, nightlife. Clearly, even us who love the night and embrace it in all its forms will admit, yeah, the nightlife has its downside to those who can't handle it or understand what fortune is. So listen, he says, all vices rebel against nature. Luxury is to enjoy what is unusual. So this is where I said, hold on. Luxury is to enjoy what is unusual. He's saying that if things are weird and unusual, the sick people are attracted to that. I disagree. He's also saying that I'm also want to know what he means by unusual. Luxury is to enjoy what is unusual. I would love to see the original word translated. Does he mean fancy? What does he mean by that? Yeah. Well, I wouldn't call him a typical old man because he's just commenting on the nightlife lot. So imagine you live near a bar, and every night you look down at the bar below you, and yeah, you see people puking on the sidewalk at 3 a.m. I think that's what he's commenting on. And he doesn't like it. He constantly brings up that things that go along with nature are where we find virtue and wisdom. Things that go against nature, we don't, right? But I mean, dude, honestly, we did evolve to sleep in the day, or sleep at night and wake in the day. That's a fact. Like our biology, like lights, if you sleep with the lights on, it messes you up. Like you have to turn the lights off is important, and also cold, a little chilly is important. Too hot's not good for sleep. So, and there are studies that show that people that have night owl jobs have weird metabolisms. So, yes, Joel, yes. Okay. So, going back to Epicurus, which Seneca was a fan of, they thought, look, whenever you take more in than you need, meaning when you eat a meal, right? You have bread, you got your water, you got your veggie, you got whatever, your belly's full, you're content, it tastes good, and that's it. But once you get used to a bacon cheeseburger with mayo, French fries with bacon bits, and that becomes the norm. And so you have this norm that has all this extra stuff. So when bad things happen and you don't get the extra, you're now missing this middle norm of elaborate. It's like the rich guy that gets used to living in this world of like having everything at his beck and call. He loses all his money. He goes nuts because he's lost it all. I agree with that. Yes, if your brain is wired to look at that in that manner. And I think most people are. I've come to realize that no, you can enjoy those things. It's just you have to understand a little more. It actually seems to require a little bit more effort for it to work okay. We're getting to the stuff that really like kind of made me go, huh. So he's talking about living according to your nature. And the word nature, does he mean, again, definitions. How is he defining nature here? Because there's nature, meaning the law of the jungle, the law of the animal kingdom, the laws of physics, the law of nature. And then there's your nature, meaning what are you naturally good at inside your mind? Like, are you the type that is good at this? Are you the type that's good at that? To me, when I say living according to my nature, I mean both of those things. The laws of how things work in the world. And also, from an early age, I did feel attracted to certain ways of thinking and the way I do things. Well, that's what it is. Excess that's why hedonism at its pure form falls apart. Epicurus said, hey, we're hedonists, but we're going to game hedonism by not overdoing it. And they actually underdid it. They went the other way. They were allowed to do whatever they wanted, but they chose not to. They made a choice not to. They weren't mandated to. It wasn't like, you can't eat fancy food. No, it was like, we're choosing not to just because we don't want to get used to it. Epicurus liked bread and water. And he said every now and then he loved eating a piece of cheese. I'm sure that cheese tasted great. I mean, I like eating plain bread. You give me a loaf of plain white bread, fresh from a bakery, that has the hard, crunchy outside and the soft, fluffy inside, I'm cool. Literally, that to me tastes just as good as the fanciest caviar I've ever eaten at a party or the best raw oysters shipped direct from Alaska, right? So, fighting your nature is, right. Yeah, exactly. We all have something. Now, some of us and some people have a nature that they're interpreting as their nature. And I actually wrote this down. You'll see it on Instagram. People post, there's a certain type that'll post a post that's like, I'm a horrible bitch, get used to it. Stuff like that. Or like, I'm a selfish person that has no friends because I throw tantrums. It's just me. Stuff like that. I see all the time. Those to me are toxic positivity outcries. And they're looking to get, they'll say something like that to get an affirmation back of like, yay, you're good. When it's like, no, that's not good. Like, yeah, maybe you should look at your own behaviors. So here we go. So now, Epicurus says he does criticize a bit of men dressing like women. And I was like, what? So I looked it up and I did some math. I did some research. And it's really weird. Seneca is criticizing not necessarily homosexuality, but he's criticizing, well, what do they call them in the gay scene? Twinks, super effeminate men. And but then he clarifies it. He's like, no, he's talking more about older men trying to be boyish and attractive, right? Again, he's being a grumpy old man. I looked it up and they were like, nope, homosexuality was pretty common back then. No one really cared. But the girly men might have gotten more criticized and picked on. And he does it in there. He does it. It's like, there it is. I was like, oh, wow, Seneca. No, he's not a killjoy. Ruth, I'm giving this guy a bad name. This is one of the, if I had to pick 5 books to keep in my bookshelf as the best books I've ever read, this definitely gets put in there. I'm not kidding. There's stuff in here that really is eye-opening and a really interesting way to look at this stuff. When men desire things opposite to nature, they abandon the ways of nature. Yeah, okay. So, all right. So, the nightlife dummy. Yeah. He's talking about the nightlife dummy. He literally, that's what he's going into here. Okay. Now, here's where it gets interesting. He talks about what are they seeking? What are these nightlife people looking for? And he says they're looking for notoriety, reputation. And I was like, okay, interesting. This is where it made my brain go. So then I started thinking about myself and what I do and how I relate to the world and me going out or me going to a party or because I don't consider myself a night owl, even though, I mean, I stay up every night. Let's say I don't have a job, like a nightclub job or a night job. I'll go to bed at 2, 3 in the morning. Yeah. Between 1 and 3. I would say more like 1 or 2. But I also get up at 7:30 in the morning. So I consider myself a night owl and an early bird. I don't know. I don't really consider myself one or the other. I don't identify as either. I like the night and I like the day. I mean, but then when he said notoriety, I thought, okay, let me examine my life through this now. Why I go out, what am I looking for, and the point of it all. You know, I might as well examine my stuff. And why I am attracted to weird things. I could just say, well, I just am. It's my nature. But I could dig. I could dig a little deep. Ever since I was very young, and I can guarantee you half the people in this chat right now would agree to a lot of this, but I was attracted to the macabre, the ghosts, the monsters, the devils, the demons. Things that were a little spooky, I was definitely drawn to. Why? There has to be a reason. It's not that there's no reason. Yeah, it's my nature, but why? And I, in the last few days, I've been really chewing on this. I saw other people acting afraid or saying things about certain things. You know, they would refer to a scary movie, a scary book. Night guy, less people. Love it. Night guy, less people. Perfect. True. Same with the beach. I am a big night beach proponent. Oh yeah. So I see people relating to this, the strange, the weird, the whimsical, the macabre. And that, to me, the fact that they acted afraid of it made me want to see why. Why are you afraid of ghosts? What does a ghost mean? What is a devil, a demon? Why is a Ouija board bad, right? So Yes, exactly. Ruth, you're right. So at an early age, I grew up in a very Catholic family that was very superstitious. They wouldn't say the word cancer out loud, you know? My mom is in here. She'll tell you we have family members that go to church every day, you know? Like morning Catholic mass. So to me, it was me practicing early versions of Stoicism. It's literally what it was. I really thought about it. I was like, at an early age, I realized that all of these things they were afraid of, if I confronted it directly, there's nothing to be afraid of. With close examination, I clearly saw either that it wasn't scary and being misinterpreted, or there's some sort of fallacy going on here of how they're explaining it. They're like way on the wrong path. See, here we go. Okay, there you go, Peter. Peter just said, Peter Benedetti said, I always wondered why I was default attracted to horror movies and dark music. Me too, bro. At a very young child. It wasn't from a rebellious standpoint because my childhood was fine. So I wouldn't say that, I don't know if I was being a rebel. I wasn't allowed to like be a rebel of sorts about what was going on with the religious stuff around me. So maybe it was also a way of internalizing it by confronting these things that they said were bad or dark or, ugly. Like what things that other people think are ugly, I think are beautiful sometimes. I like flawed things. To me aren't always flawed. Like I like crooked teeth. I hate that everybody fixes their teeth now. I really do. This like when people have a little gap in their teeth, I think it's one of the sexiest things in a female when she has a little like Madonna had one. I don't really think she's hot, but she had one. David Letterman had the gap in the teeth, right? Everybody gets it fixed now. Why? Yeah, so at an early age, I definitely was attracted to the other stuff. I felt that it was a better friend to be attracted to that stuff. They became a friend of sorts because it seemed no one else liked it, but it had value. Like, no, there's value here. Why is everybody running away from this? And then after you go to these things that are considered dark, weird, different, you see the other people that think so too. You find the others, the other friends. You make friends. I mean, we evolved to be social creatures. I did too. I consider myself super duper social, but also super duper reclusive. I can go both, and I do both. Yeah. Oh, you had one, Ruth? Yeah, I have a thing for crooked teeth. Jewel. The singer Jewel, she has a little crooked tooth. I was like, oh, I love it. The night is, what did I wrote here? Revolt of normal. Living against nature or their nature. Taking more needed when you get used to elaborate and sad when it's gone. Yeah, if you're okay with that. So that's the thing, like, and I really been thinking about this. Like, I basically, yeah, I was allowed to watch horror films too, Peter. My family let me run my roost. Oh, thank you. It should say Chainsaw Massacre 2, because that's Leatherface from part 2. I want to see it, Ruth. You probably were adorable. If you can understand when you're living life large and things are wonderful and you're like, my job's good, my relationships are good, it's all fine. Just realize that most of that's not in your control anymore. And like that, it can all change from outside influences. Really. I saw a guy today. I was watching a free will debate, which I do a lot. And I saw a guy go, all right, I'm going to give you an example. He's like, look, if you have three people that are going to go meet for lunch, let's say a week from today, next Monday, you have this guy here, this guy here, this guy here. You're going to meet next Monday to go to this diner for lunch. Okay, cool. Now what? Well, by the time you get to next week, there's all these outside influences that are going to affect each one of those three people that might not allow for that lunch to happen. And somebody made a chart of how it could work, and it is so elaborate, it's shocking. Fortune comes in two forms. And this is one of the Seneca things he's always talking about. You've got the good and you've got the bad. And when you live in the world of fortune and you're expecting fortune, expect the bad. Nietzsche, his take on, so Seneca's take on it was, don't focus on things that are part of fortune. Focus on the other. Virtues have nothing to do with fortune. It has to do with effort and yourself. Nietzsche, he's like, look, there's nothing you can do. So therefore, just roll with the punches. When you're getting good fortune, roll in it, eat it, smell it, enjoy it. When you have bad fortune, accept it. Take it like a man and say, what's the Stoic notion? Amor fati. Love your fate. When bad things happen, go, hey, bad things are going to happen and I can handle it. I'm ready for it. And so I think when you live in that world, that's the Nietzsche version of it. He didn't like the Stoics. He had a problem with some of the Stoic stuff because he thought that it became a rule book of sorts that you had to follow. And I disagree with Nietzsche on that. I don't think it ever was. Everybody had a different version of it and applied it to their own way. The main gist of Stoicism is it's all up to you and how you frame it all. That's all. Realize you barely have any control over a lot of stuff, especially other people's opinions. So, you have to understand that. I have my own version of these things. I do think you can influence certain things. I can influence other people's opinions. I can predict where things are going and use it to my advantage. I have my own take on these. I'm not following it by the rule book. No. And that's why I like reading philosophy. They don't say, here's the rules. They say, here's a good story. I'm going to tell you a story about a friend of mine and tell me what you think about it. That's philosophy. That's how Stoicism's taught. It's through analogies and talking. So, yeah, it really made me examine my notions of why I like certain things I do, why I'm attracted to dark things. I think Seneca really was being general about it and didn't understand some of the details, but that's fine. He made me go look up all this stuff today and think about it even more. Ooh, I like this. William says, am I strong enough to put up a fight for myself? All right, so check this out. On notoriety. Do I want notoriety? I suppose I do. Because if I get some notoriety, I get more of a platform to do my thing, right? If you get more notoriety, most of the time that comes with money. Do I want more money? Sure. Do I need more money? No. Would I like some? Yeah. Do I need it? No, not really. I'm fine right now. I don't have any money right here now, and I'm alive, and I have seltzer water and a bunch of books to read and a roof over my... Right? I don't need any more. Do I want it? Yeah. Do I crave it? Not necessarily. But notoriety. Being known? Well, here's the thing. If I ever met Seneca, I would say, yo, bro, I'm an entertainer. I get hired by people to make other people happy. I get hired to, yeah, of course. I mean, it has to be. If you're an artist, your ego has to be healthy. I mean, and so how do you have a healthy ego and not let it consume you as a performing artist? I did some thinking on this today. And I found a really good analogy of an artist who didn't own it and suffered. and I'll talk about it now. So own your own POV, I wrote down. Own your own point of view. Make sure the artist's point of view is their point of view and that they've thought about it and what they're presenting to the public is their true nature of what they want to communicate, right? Yeah, hot tubs ain't free, and ours is a fancy one, and we put a big down payment and we still have a lot to pay. So yeah, you're right. So own your stuff, because here's why. If you don't own it and it's not yours, how are you going to share it? It's like, if I tell you a true story, it's easy. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to prepare anything. If you say, tell the story of when you got stuck at Dracula's castle, I can literally go through and just tell you the story, verbatim, what happened like it was yesterday. There might be some details that I'm forgetting, but not the ones that weren't important. I remember them all. And so it's easy. It just comes out. So if I have an idea or a value I'm trying to share that really does come from my heart, and it comes from my true self and not from some other person's ideas, it's easier to share. And I can have the confidence to share it, right? So here's an example of art gone bad. Everybody remember when Kathy Griffin did the Trump cut-off head thing? Okay. So when that happened, I remember watching it from afar. I ain't a Trump fan, nor am I a hater. I really am not. I find all of the above, there are reasons for why these people show up and what they do, the horrible stuff. And to me, I'm not going to go into the details, but I'm not a supporter in any way, shape, or form. But when she did the picture with the cutoff head, I saw it, and I first did not think it was funny. And she's a comedian, right? So I'm like, all right, it's not funny. It's pretty graphic, and it means something, right? Well, when she got yelled at for it, for being over the top, too much, Trump said it upset his family, whatever, right? She apologized because everybody attacked her and was going to cancel her. So she got on her knees and apologized. So when she did that, I realized something. It wasn't her idea. She never owned it. Somebody else probably got her to do it. She thought it was a clever idea and kind of shocking and get attention, but it didn't really come from her heart. Because if she really was like, no, I want to cut his head off, and stuck to it, I would have been like, she's cool. Or no, I'm making art because like she didn't really have a point. It was just kind of, nah. Like she didn't think that was going to cause a crazy controversy and she was going to have to go on TV and defend it. She should have thought of that before she did it. She should have owned it. Well, she didn't. Why? Because it wasn't hers in the first place, most likely. And if it was her idea in the first place, it wasn't a very good idea. It wasn't funny. It didn't make anybody laugh. It was kind of like just shocking for shock value. Listen, we have an entertainer in New York City who forgot their costume, which is funny because they don't wear costume really. But anyway, they forgot their costume. And to shock the crowd, they said, I'm going to go out and do it in blackface. Well, it didn't go over well, as you can guess. A white guy, all right? Not a black guy doing blackface, a white guy. It didn't go over well. He got blacklisted like that. He tried to defend himself, made it worse, and he got ousted. He's gone. Bye-bye. No one likes the guy. Don't let the door hit you in the ass. Well, when that happened, again, it made me think about art and what it means. And people were like, you should, this type of entertainment should be banned. It should be illegal. And I'm like, whoa. Dude, if this guy had a point to make by doing the blackface, I wouldn't hate the black. I would be like, no, if he was trying to raise awareness for some sort of issue, using a shocking art thing to get there, I'm all for that. Dude, this whole we're going to start banning types of speech. If they do that, half of my heavy metal records are going to have to get thrown in the garbage. Because using shocking and hateful things can be used to educate and communicate ideas. And as an artist, you can use that energy to then... You've all seen the Lenny Bruce movie with Dustin Hoffman. Have you seen that? Where he uses the N-word in that and to make a point, right? So I'm not into banning anything, really. But I'm not into non-thought out ideas that people don't own. Because I don't look at these people as artists. That thing that Kathy Griffin did, I didn't think of as was it's so like it was so shallow, you know? It just didn't have yeah, it really like her crying about it after proved it wasn't a genuine sincere piece of art. Cuz dude, if she was like, "Yo, I think he really is a Hitler type and it's possible to do a yes, do some brutal art. Go for it, dude. That's what metal is. That's what punk rock is. That's what, you know, a real gonzo artist can do." But not her. She's an anointed one, probably. You know. So I wrote down. Yeah, I did some thinking about this whole like notoriety and how to keep the artist's ego in check with all of this, and you know what it means to be a nightclub entertainer at night around booze and drugs and pushers and pimps and all the whole thing, right? I'm around those scenes. I can be in that world and not let it get to me. Using some virtue, wisdom, fortitude, and prudence. To me, those are the big ones. You know, being wise and educating as much as possible about everything. The fortitude parts, you know, really sticking to my guns and, you know, really, and prudence meaning, you know, knowing when to say, I've had enough. I think that's too much now. I'm going to go home and go to bed now. Or I'm not going to overeat. I'm not going to overdo all of these things. Why? Because I want to enjoy it longer. I want to be smart about it. I don't need somebody else to tell me those rules. I want to come up with my own versions of them. Yeah. So, does this make sense? Did I make tonight? I just did a very long... I'm going to wrap it up soon. What else did I write here? I wrote, stand firm and believe it. It's true because it is. For you. And therefore, you're bulletproof. Yeah, what others think. Well, I'm curious of what others think. Of course, it's not that I don't care what others think, but if you own your stuff and someone has an opinion on it, I'm not going to not listen. To me, that's not good either. I'm going to listen and then formulate my, you know, hopefully that'll get me to reflect on it and make sure I'm solid, you know. I don't like sharing things unless I've thought about them. I mean, you guys watch this show, you know. I don't want to claim authority. I'm just claiming of what I've learned and how I'm applying it and the results that I've seen. And so the results of me doing some of these examines and some of the virtues that I've focused on over the years, they seem to work pretty consistently. Again, throw fortune in the mix, and yeah, of course, there's going to be crashes. Yeah, I love that you're quoting L. Ron Hubbard. Well, okay, so now let's get into some salopism quickly before I bounce out. So my way is my way. And I don't think it's everybody's way. I think for certain types, certain moments of my ways might work. But again, it's my way, meaning my history of how I got here today. No one could copy that. I mean, you can look for similarities in things, but your way is your way. You came from a different city, a different town, a different schooling, how you were raised, the values you were raised with. There's so many things factored into you. Some of it's biology. Literally, you were born with a chemical abundance here and a deficiency there. And then you throw on that climate. You're born in a cold environment. That's going to dictate certain things too about how your way is. So, nobody's wrong all the time. It's true. Oh yeah, Hunter S. Thompson. Gonzo, for sure. So yeah, there was a lot in here I wanted to go over, and I thought it was funny that I get to the end of the Seneca book, and it really was like, wow, he let out his old man there, and I mean, there's other times where he does it, but he really is a brilliant guy. He was dealing with a lot. The way they made him put his money where his mouth is. Nero, he got part of a conspiracy. They thought he was part of a conspiracy to overthrow Nero, and so they commanded him to kill himself. So he said, okay, like a good philosopher should. Like, really? That's what you want me to do? Okay. So he went. His woman did it too. They did it together. And he supposedly had a really brutal end. He cut his wrists and it didn't work. Then they gave him poison, and then they made him go to a hot bath, and then the hot bath made him bleed out. So he had a pretty incredible end. Not as incredible as Cato, and I'm going to do a whole show on him coming up. I'm working on him. I got a lot of reading to do. Cato, the politician that they all loved. They held him as the highest moral character of all time. He was like the model citizen, Cato. And he also killed himself in a glorious manner. Very stoic. Woo! Wow, okay. That was a lot tonight. I hope that made sense. I still have a lot of thinking to do. More self-reflecting. It's fun. Folks, wow, we had a good group in here tonight. Wow. Let's see. Time flies when you're having fun. The Rasputin of suicide. Yeah, dude. I mean, these stoic guys put their money where their mouth is. So that shows that it works. You know, it would be such a sad story at the end of their lives. They ran away and hid. It's like, no. Even Socrates. So Xenophon, right now, I'm reading his account of Socrates' defense and how he, you know, a lot of people wanted Socrates not to kill himself because he kind of could have gotten out of it, it seems. And he didn't. Yeah, tonight went by really quick because we were talking about philosophy. Whenever I do a philosophy episode, the time just zooms. It's juicy. It's alive. It's moving. Philosophy is moving. It's not one thing. It's not stagnant. It's alive. It's a thing. And that's why I'm getting kind of obsessed with it. It's not gotten boring, let me tell you. Philosophy ain't boring because it's not that you read it. It's that you read it and then you reflect it and then you share it with your friends. And you know. I don't have to explain. All right, folks. Well, I'm going to bounce out. I got things to do. I got a busy week ahead. And I will see you here. Not sure if it's going to be Wednesday. Definitely not Friday. Again, I'm trying to do these Wednesday shows, but I get bogged down with life. Once the fall officially starts and the temperatures change and I get my other schedule, I really will. Oh, yeah. The live chat is the whole point of this. I wouldn't do it without this. I will start doing the 3 a week again. And I am working on a Behind the Devil's Curtain that's going to knock your socks off. I don't take those shows lightly. I want it to be really good. So stay tuned. In the next month or so, there's going to be some Behind the Devil's Curtain episodes where I get into some juicy subjects. And I really think you're going to really like them. So folks, whoever's in here, from the bottom of my heart, I really do appreciate that I have a live audience here. Every time I turn this on, I wouldn't do it without the live crowd. No way. And it's not any ordinary live crowd. It's a crowd of people I enjoy chatting with. Open-minded, smart, and willing to do a talk. So, yeah, folks, if you're the donating type, there's the link. It's in my... If you go below in the description of the show that you click on and it pops down, there's a link in there, the donate thing. No one has to donate. If you do, it really does mean a lot to me because it goes into the show. But, dude, share it. Tell people about it. And most importantly, just keep coming back. The people in here, I really appreciate it. I'm flattered. All right, everybody, have a good night. It's Monday. It's my favorite day of the week. And I'm going to take us out with our outro, and I'll see you around. I'm definitely here for episode 89 next Monday, but it also might be Wednesday. We'll see. Check it out. Thank you, everybody. Party on, Wayne.